Interested in this under. All right, let's move on to our next game. 4:25 p.m. Eastern. I believe this is 3 games left. Yes, 3 games left. Cardinals at San Francisco 49ers. Cardinals are 7-1, 4-0 on the road. Niners 3-4, 0-3 at home. Levi Stadium, Santa Clara, California. These Niners haven't won at home in over a year. 61 Fahrenheit, partly cloudy, 10 miles per hour is the wind. Arizona offense putting up 264.9 yards through the air, 128.8 on the ground, allowing just 198.9 through the air and 120 on the ground. Niners putting up 246 through the air and 123.7 on the ground, allowing 196.9 and 127.1 on the ground. We have 3,051 tickets in, 38% of the tickets, 39% of the cash on the Niners. Believe that Arizona is going to bounce back here. 66% of tickets on the over, 79% of cash on the over. Arizona comes in off extra rest and preparations after their first loss of the season, 24-21 at home to the Packers, who were missing their top 3 receivers, lost their best tight end to an ACL tear in the third quarter. Halfway through the third quarter, they were missing their top 4 receivers. Arizona was trying to set a franchise record for longest winning streak to start the season, but instead tied that mark, set in 74. Who cares? Kyler Murray, 22 of 33, 274 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. Last one coming from the 5-yard line with seconds remaining. He tweaked his ankle. It was clear. He's listed as questionable to go this week. I'm sure he's going to go. DeAndre Hopkins caught 2 passes for 66 yards. He also hurt his hamstring and didn't play for most of the game. A.J. Green caught 5 passes for 50 yards. Clearly was not on the same page as Murray for that final score. Chase Edmonds ran 7 times for 30 yards and a touchdown, caught 3 passes for 39 yards. Jordan Hicks was great, 12 tackles. Played their first game without J.J. Watt. Look, I don't think J.J. Watt is that important to this defense, but they sacked Rodgers once and only hit him 4 times without him. Savin Collins injured his shoulder in the first quarter and didn't return. Safety James Wiggins hurt his knee in the first half and didn't return. Hopkins has been dealing with his hamstring issue for a few weeks. He's barely been practicing. Jonathan Ward was carted off the field with the concussion neck injury. He's able to move his extremities. All 3 are questionable this week. Defensive tackle Rashard Lawrence and guard Max Garcia inactive. San Francisco, Jimmy G coming off their best game of the year, 33-22 at the Bears. Garoppolo 17 for 28 for 322 yards. No touchdowns, no picks. Scored from the 2 in the third quarter, ran in from the 5 in the fourth. And our very own Joshua Keokunlaya caught the football. And I just love that shit. I love that shit. I love that what that sports does that for us, brings us these memorable moments that we have forever. Deebo Samuel caught 6 passes for 171 yards. Listed as questionable this week. I'm sure he's going to go. Elijah Mitchell ran 1,800 for 137 yards. He has a rib injury. He's been limited, is expected to be limited to practice all week. Nick Bosa got 2 of the Niners' 4 sacks, 2 of their 5 quarterback hits. Josh Norman picked off Fields, returned it for 33 yards. Jimmy Ward exited in the fourth quarter with a quad injury. He's doubtful this week. And then they pick up Charles Omenihu from Texas, from the Houston Texans. He played college in Texas, and his numbers are pretty good. Linebacker Dre Greenlaw. I mean, he's not had a sack this year. 7 sacks in his first 2 years, but Pro Football Focus gives him some pretty decent marks, especially pass rushing. Dre Greenlaw could return from his groin injury this week. So could George Kittle. So could Jeff Wilson. So could Robbie Gould. D. Ford, Maurice Hurst, and Aziz Al-Shaair inactive, listed as questionable this week. You know more about the day-to-day with the Niners, and I can't wait to hear your breakdown. I can't wait to hear if you're backing them this week. I know you don't like the Cardinals. Take it away, Bebsie. Cards, Niners.
Well, you're going to hear everything I say, and then you're going to say, well, then are you going to back the Niners? And I'm going to say no, and why. So it looks like Kittle's going to play. It looks like Greenlaw could play. He's probably the biggest uncertainty at this point. I don't think Jeff Wilson will play. They opened up his practice window. He probably won't be rushed back, which is too bad because he's a bit of a Cardinals killer. You mentioned one other guy possibly coming back who is important. Now it's escaping me. Robbie
Gould?
Robbie Gould is coming back because they waived Joey Sly today, so that's a pretty good indication that their veteran kicker is back. Look, the last time these two played, the Cardinals won by a score, and that was with Trey Lance making his NFL debut, with no George Kittle, no Drake Greenlaw, no Robbie Gould. Robbie Gould, sorry. I still call him Gould. His name's Robbie Gould. And now Arizona's feeling a bit of the injury bug, so they got a banged-up Kyler Murray. He will play. I agree with that. And look, I said at the start of the year, and I don't want to relish in this because I hate injuries. You know, I'm a big player backer, even if it's on a rival. J.J. Watt has not, following a full 16-game season, he has not followed. He's finished every season for 4 straight, I think, on IR. So I'm not surprised that he's going to, like, J.J. Watt's a phenomenal player, but he is just breaking down. And yeah, he's not going to blow up the stat sheet like he used to, but he is important. He did command enough attention that puts pressure back on some of their other pass rushers. So that will affect them. This is a tough spot for the Cards. They're now banged up going into San Francisco, playing a team that could very well build off this. They needed that win against Chicago, and they're getting some reinforcements back, which should be a mental lift. If this team gets right, and if Kyle Shanahan can build on the great game plan he had last week, they're starting to believe in each other again. Guys like Trent Williams have been speaking out for a while, being like, we don't need anybody else. We have who we need in this locker room. We just need to get right. I thought it was a very convincing second half. They came out and they took control of the game in the second half. Debo's been dealing with a calf injury for the last 3 weeks, apparently, which is concerning. You know, he's number 2 in the league in yards right now. Their offense obviously runs through him, so I think you'll see less Debo targets this week, and they'll use him a little more sparingly because I think they're going to try and rest that calf as much as possible. So Kittle coming back is huge. But the nice thing that with Kittle being out, Charlie Warner really stepped up as a blocker. So I think you're going to see a few more targets Kittle's way if he's back this week, which I believe he will be. So everything kind of leads towards the Niners. But here comes the part where I say why I'm not backing them. I need to see Kyle consistently call another game. He's been really shaky with the play calling this year. It's been weird because he's been such a great OC his whole career. Just a great offensive-minded coach. And exactly, Slats. This is why. I need to see him do it 2 weeks in a row. I need to know that wasn't them just beating up on a Bears defense without Khalil Mack.
What do you think of Gerald Jones, like in the first half under? What do you think of his total that's sitting here at 46 or 45.5, depending on where you shop? By the way, 38%, 39% tickets cash on the Niners. And then, looks like big money here on the over at this point.
Yeah, I can see an over too. The reason I kind of like the first half under is because these two teams often get into a real slow start, and they get into this this grudge match. So I think a slow start is quite possibly a good look here. I'm still kind of laughing at Slats. I knew it was coming. I knew that breakdown and why I'm not on the Niners. And it's very simple. I need to trust Shanahan for another. I need to see that he's back.
The most vulnerable the Cardinals have looked all year. And
look, I know it's. I started looking like a crazy person when they got to 7-0 because they're not that team. They had squeaked out some wins that they didn't deserve, and they had beaten teams that were decimated with injuries. And they're not as good as their record indicates. And now, if D-Hop is a little bit limited and Murray's a little bit limited, and you've lost some pieces on the defense right now, that was already not exactly a formidable defense. This 49ers defense under DeMeco Ryans is really focused on slowing down mobile QBs. They held Kyler Murray to a yard last time, and because of that, Arizona scored a season-low 17 points. So you better believe the Niners are going to come out fired up in this game.
Well, I'm going to move on the Niners. I think they have look, this line for a team that's 3-4 and 0-3 at home, the fact that they're sitting here as I would like to give you the exact odds, but our site's down a little bit right now. But 1 point favorite, or minus 110 on the money line. I think this team will roll. And look, the Cardinals are going to be a menace this year, but would it surprise me if they come back to earth here? No. I am going to move on the Niners.